Is Apple about to break the internet again? Just when we thought the iPad Pro couldn't possibly get any faster, massive new leaks for the iPad Pro M6 have just surfaced. We are talking about a release date that is closer than you think and internal specs that make most high-end laptops look like toys. If you are planning to buy a new tablet in 2026, you need to stop everything and listen to this. The M6 is not just an update, it is a total redesign of what we think a Pro device can do. Today, we are diving deep into the leaks, the power of the M6 chip, and the truth behind the 2026 launch. To understand where we are going, we have to look at where we are right now. Currently, the tech world is buzzing with the iPad Pro M5. At the end of 2025, Apple updated the 11-inch and 13-inch models with the M5 silicon. It brought the N1 chip and the C1X chip for those who need elite cellular connectivity. But let's be honest with ourselves, the M5 was a modest step forward. The real revolution happened back in 2024 with the M4 iPad Pro. That was the year Apple shocked everyone with the tandem OLED display. It was the year the iPad became the thinnest device Apple has ever made, measuring just 5.3 millimeters. It was a masterpiece of engineering. But now, in 2026, the whispers from the supply chain suggest that the M4 and M5 were just the warm-up act for the main event. The biggest question on everyone's mind is the design. Will the iPad Pro M6 look different? If you are dreaming of a folding screen or a radical new shape, I have to give you a bit of a reality check. Apple is extremely happy with the current chassis. It is sleek, light, and incredibly durable. According to the latest leaks, the M6 will likely keep the same physical footprint we saw in the M4 and M5 generations. We are looking at the same quad-speaker system, the same high-speed Thunderbolt 4 port, and the same Face ID setup. However, there is a strong rumor that Apple might bring back a fan-favorite color, like a refined space gray, or perhaps a brand-new titanium finish to distinguish the M6 from its predecessors. But don't let the familiar outside fool you. The real monster is living deep inside the casing. The M6 chip is the heart of this story, and it is a total beast. This isn't just a small bump in clock speed. We are hearing reports that the M6 will offer a 15% to 20% increase in CPU performance for both single-core and multi-core tasks. This means your heaviest apps, your most complex spreadsheets, and your 4K timelines will fly faster than ever. But the real headline news is the GPU. For the last 2 generations, Apple has stayed with a 10-core GPU. With the M6, leaks suggest Apple is finally jumping to a 12-core GPU. Having this much graphical horsepower in a tablet is almost hard to wrap your head around. We are talking about a device that can edit 8K video on the fly or render complex 3D models while you're sitting in a coffee shop. It effectively turns the iPad Pro into a pocket-sized creative studio that can rival a desktop Mac. There is also massive news regarding the memory. One of the biggest complaints about the iPad Pro has always been how Apple handles RAM. Currently, you only get 16 GB of RAM if you sell a kidney to buy the 1 TB or 2 TB models. The entry-level versions are stuck at 12 GB. But for 2026, the leaks suggest Apple is finally listening to the fans. There is a very high probability that 16 GB of RAM will become the standard across the entire M6 lineup. This would be a massive win for value-conscious buyers. Along with this, we expect the N2 chip for AI processing and the C2X chip for next-generation Wi-Fi and 5G stability. Now, let's talk about the 2 things that actually determine if you'll buy one: the price and the release date. Everyone is worried about price hikes because everything is getting more expensive. However, because Apple is likely keeping the same physical design and display technology, the production costs should stay stable. Since they already did a storage tier price adjustment recently, the M6 is expected to start at the same price point as the current M5. As for the release date, here is the breakdown. The absolute earliest we could see this device is October or November of 2026. But we have to remember Apple's history. They usually prefer an 18-month cycle for the Pro iPads. If they stick to that rhythm, spring 2027 is the most realistic window for a global launch. So, what is my honest opinion on the iPad Pro M6? I think this is going to be the ultimate power move for Apple. If you already own an M4 or an M5, you probably don't need to rush out and upgrade unless you are a hardcore creative professional who needs every single drop of GPU power. Those chips are already screamers. But if you are still holding onto an older M1 or an A-series iPad, the M6 will feel like moving from a bicycle to a supersonic jet. It is all about that 12-core GPU and the standard 16 GB of RAM. Apple is no longer just making a tablet, they are making a computer that happens to look like a beautiful sheet of glass. This is the device that will finally bridge the gap between mobile portability and desktop power. The competition is trying to catch up, but with the M6, Apple is moving the finish line further away. Whether you are a student, a designer, or just a tech enthusiast, the M6 is the device to watch in 2026. It represents the peak of what silicon technology can achieve in a mobile form factor. Are you going to wait for the M6, or are you going to hunt for a deal on the M5? The choice is yours, but the future looks incredibly bright. If you like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video with your friends, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update on the latest tech leaks. What do you think about the M6? Is a 12-core GPU too much power for an iPad, or is it exactly what you've been waiting for? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one of them. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.